Hello, hello. My name's Tanner Gill, and I'm doing a complete guide on genitive plural case endings. So, first and foremost, some information about genitive plural endings. There are 10 of them, but lucky for us, 3 of them are repeats. And in order to understand when these endings occur and which endings to use, it's very helpful to understand the different declensions of nouns, which I will go over. So the first declension is masculine nouns, and there's 3 different endings to masculine nouns. There can be a nulovoje окончание, which is an ending in which there is no vowel. It basically just ends on a consonant. The vast majority of masculine nouns end in that manner. The ending of this particular type of noun in the genitive plural is always ov. For the middle type is when it ends in a mjaki and for this type of ending, the genitive plural is je, and if it ends in an ikratkoje, then the genitive plural is jev, and if it's under stress, jov. The second declension are from feminine nouns, and there's actually a third declension pattern as well that also involves feminine nouns, but with the first ending, if it ends in an a, then it actually also is a nulovoje окончание, which means that the vowel is removed and it basically ends in the preceding consonant. If it ends in a ya, then it becomes a mjaki at the end. And if it ends in ia, then it ends in I. The third declension is fortunately quite simple, although it does involve a large number of feminine nouns, and that's just when it ends in a mjaki, and this ending is je. Now, the fourth declension is for neuter nouns, and the first one, if it ends in an o, is again a nulovoje окончание, meaning the o is dropped and it is left with the previous consonant like before. If it ends in a je, then when in the genitive plural, that becomes je, and if it's ie, then the genitive plural is I. And right here, I have written down all of the different endings categorized by the different declensions, and you can then see the corresponding genitive plurals. And obviously, when you're talking and you have a noun that you're trying to decline, while you are thinking about whatever it is you're going to say, it can be quite complicated to remember all of these different rules. So there's a couple patterns that are really helpful to pick up on. First of all, this involves just masculine nouns, so the first declension, but the endings that are just in a consonant, as I mentioned, are always ov. And in Russian, the ikratkoje is also a consonant, but it makes it so that the following vowel becomes soft. And what you can think of in this instance is the ending is still ov, but if it's not under stress and it's following the consonant that creates a soft ov, there cannot be a soft o that is not stressed. That's a spelling rule in Russian, and it automatically becomes a ye. So that's where we get the yev from. And if it is under stress, that o is still is still soft, and it becomes yov. It's just a helpful way to remember the patterns behind why it is that it's done, that genitive plural is pronounced the way that it is. This one is really helpful to just know that if there's ever a mjaki, whether it's in the masculine or whether it's feminine, it will always end in ye. And this one might be a bit of a stretch, but the mjaki does have a slight amount of sound to it, like a ye sound, which is part which is also a sound that's shared with the beginning of ye. You could say that ye is in a way almost a more drawn out version of the miyakiznak. And because of that, they all end in ye. So if it ends in ye, or if it is a miyakiznak, you just know automatically that it's ye. Now, this one is also pretty simple if you just think of the fact that a and o are hard vowels. And so when in genitive plural, they're always dropped and you're left with that nulovoja akanchania. And so if it's a neuter noun or a feminine noun and it ends in and it's in genitive plural, you drop all of that and it ends with whatever the consonant is. Now, ya is obviously a soft version of a, and so if you have a feminine noun that ends in ya, the same rule applies, but that softness remains, which again is something that you can look at the pattern here and it'll help you remember the rule. Even though it looks different when it's written, you just need to remember that the softness will carry over, but that hard a is dropped in the genitive plural. Now, if it ends in iya or iye, it always ends in e when it's in the genitive plural, which is pretty straightforward. This is obviously not a grammatical rule, but I just remember it as if there's these two letters here, it's kind of like a pair, there's going to be the pair in the end as well. Just a little pattern that helps me remember it. So overall, genitive plural is definitely complicated. It was good for me to review these things, but the good news is that there are patterns and there are concrete rules. And if we understand the reasons behind the patterns by taking a look at the declensions, it can make it a lot easier to understand what's actually going on behind the scenes. Hopefully this can help you out, and good luck. Udachi.